Phase F is where architecture becomes an executable journey. We take the solution options and work packages from Phase E, then sequence them by dependency, priority, cost, risk, and readiness to create a migration roadmap for the Azure AI platform. By this point, you have built the architecture foundation: purpose, principles, requirements, stakeholders, and target architectures. Phase E turned that foundation into candidate solutions and work packages. Now, Phase F asks the practical delivery question: in what order should we move? With what funding, capacity, and readiness? The migration roadmap becomes the bridge to implementation, governance, and change. The central shift in Phase F is from intent to action. Target and transition architectures describe where the enterprise needs to go, but they are not yet a delivery plan. Phase F takes the work packages identified earlier and sequences them into a practical migration roadmap. That means resolving dependencies, comparing value against risk, estimating cost and resources, and checking whether the organization is ready to absorb change. The result gives portfolio, program, project, and governance teams a shared basis for decisions. What should we implement, in what order, and under what controls? To make that plan credible, Phase F starts with the target architectures, requirements, solution building blocks, work packages, capability assessments, and known risks. The work is to sequence the packages, expose dependencies, confirm funding and resources, refine costs, and test readiness. The result is not just a schedule. It is a governed plan, an implementation and migration plan, roadmap, transition architectures, and recommendations for control points. Agreement matters because business, security, finance, operations, delivery, and product teams all need the same view of what moves first and why. A useful roadmap groups work packages around real capability: cloud foundation, data platform, AI services, security controls, or business adoption. Those capabilities are then sequenced into waves, so each transition state delivers something measurable, not just activity. Milestones mark readiness, decision points confirm whether to proceed, and architecture reviews protect quality and compliance before go-live. The key is timing. A strong roadmap balances business priority with funding, people, dependencies, and regulatory deadlines, so the future state is reached through controlled, value-producing steps. Even a strong roadmap fails if dependencies are hidden. Before committing to dates, identify what must be in place first. For an Azure AI platform, the landing zone may need to exist before private networking, networking before the data platform, and the data platform before model integration and application release. But dependencies are not only technical. Approvals, training, data classification, access controls, vendor readiness, and support processes can all become blockers. Mapping them early exposes the critical path, shows what can run in parallel, and prevents rework, wasted budget, and disruption. Rather than attempting one large transformation, Phase F defines increments that produce usable capability. A cloud foundation may come first, followed by data readiness, an AI pilot, secure scale-out, and broader enterprise adoption. Each step can be tested, funded, governed, and adjusted before moving forward. Transition architectures describe the stable intermediate states along that path. They keep change controlled while preserving alignment with the final architecture. The key idea is progress with evidence, not a leap of faith. Release planning turns the migration roadmap into work the organization can actually deliver. Each release needs defined scope, funding, dependencies, and operational impact. Milestones become the control points that prove progress, such as approvals, readiness gates, risk reviews, or business sign-off. The critical discipline is exit criteria. Before a team moves forward, it must show that security has been reviewed, costs are approved, operations can support the change, and architecture remains aligned with standards and the target state. That makes every release a governed decision, not just a date on a plan. Prioritization is where architecture planning becomes execution planning. The goal is not to pick the easiest work first. It is to choose the sequence that creates the most enterprise value while controlling risk. A capability with strong business impact may move up the queue. So might work that reduces security exposure, satisfies a regulatory deadline, or unlocks dependent initiatives. Cost, complexity, available resources, operational disruption, and user readiness also matter. A transparent scoring approach turns prioritization from opinion into a defensible decision model. Strong migration plans sequence risk, not convenience. Early work should test the assumptions that could stop the program later: identity, data protection, integrations, performance, and compliance. High impact, high uncertainty items belong in pilots or proofs of concept, where failure is cheaper and learning is faster. For example, validate prompt injection controls, masking of sensitive data, private endpoint designs, and legacy throughput before broad rollout. As evidence changes, the roadmap should change too. The goal is not to eliminate every risk up front. It is to reduce the dangerous unknowns before production depends on them. Migration planning has to treat cost as an architectural requirement, not a finance afterthought. In cloud and AI, spend changes with usage. Compute hours, storage growth, network traffic, logs, security tools, data movement, and model tokens. Start by estimating these drivers, then assign ownership through tags, budgets, and showback or chargeback rules. During migration, use Azure Cost Management, dashboards, alerts, and anomaly detection to catch drift early. After workloads land, optimize continuously with right sizing, reserved capacity, auto-scaling, storage lifecycle policies, and AI usage controls. The goal is predictable value, not just lower spend. An enterprise knowledge assistant pilot makes AI cost planning concrete. Spend can rise from Azure OpenAI token usage, longer prompts, higher request volume, vector indexing in Azure AI search, blob or data lake storage, monitoring logs, and private networking. The answer is not simply to buy more budget. It is to build controls into the architecture: token quotas, prompt caching, storage lifecycle rules, experiment caps, and budget alerts. Then make cost visible in release gates and operational dashboards, so teams can scale what works without accidentally scaling waste. A migration is ready only when the whole organization can absorb it. Phase F tests that readiness before each transition state becomes real. Business readiness asks whether stakeholders understand the change, processes are updated, and training and communications are in place. Operational readiness checks runbooks, support ownership, monitoring, incident response, and service management handoffs. Security readiness confirms controls, access, logging, and threat models. Adoption readiness looks at user impact, resistance, and whether value is actually being realized. Treat these as gate criteria. If one area is amber or red, the migration plan needs adjustment before execution. The implementation and migration plan is where Phase F becomes executable. Start by confirming scope and translating the roadmap into clear work packages, owners, timelines, and milestones. Then sequence the work, validate dependencies, and score priorities, so the most valuable and feasible changes move first. Add cost estimates, funding assumptions, resource needs, benefits, risks, mitigations, and key architecture decisions. Finally, align the plan with portfolio management, agile release planning, governance checkpoints, and readiness criteria. This creates the baseline Phase G will use to govern delivery against architecture intent and compliance expectations. Phase F closes by turning architecture intent into a governed migration plan. The work is sequenced through releases, dependencies, milestones, and transition architectures, then prioritized by value, risk, compliance, cost, complexity, and user impact. For Azure and AI, FinOps discipline is essential. From here, governance in Phase G and change management in Phase H keep delivery controlled, aligned, and adaptable.